What's up, guys? Ronnie from Ron Man's Fishing, and today we're going to be talking about topwater. Now, topwater is one of my absolute favorite ways to fish. Who doesn't love a topwater strike when the bass actually breaks the surface, gobbles your lure, and takes it back under? It's a wild experience. If you've never experienced topwater, well, we're going to get into that topic today. To start with, we're going to talk about the different types of lures that you can use for topwater. I have many. I have an arsenal of topwater that I keep with me at all times. You have frogs. I have a whole container full of frogs. Now you have different types of frogs. This is a popper frog. See the concave? This is a popper frog. This is a swimming frog. See, no concave. This is a buzz toad. It buzzes as it swims through. Another popping frog. And then some of my personal favorite, propeller frogs. They all have their own unique uses. We'll get into that in a little bit. Other than frogs, you have spooks, like my sexy dog here, the Strike King KVD sexy dog. Amazing topwater bait. It allows you to cover water, and it really finds the fish. All right. Then we have whopper ploppers, which we have several different variations. This is the Berkley Chapo 90. I have the most bites on this 90. It comes in a variety of colors. I keep white. I have sexy shad color. Good bait. I have silver and black. Also a good color. And I have this new one that I just recently received. I got it out of a mystery tackle box. It has two propellers. And that's whopper ploppers. We'll go over them in a minute. I have a new bait that I just bought. It's called a Headbanger Topwater Spitter. That's the Headbanger Spitfire. It's essentially a sectioned minnow with a spit cup that allows it to move water and swim across the surface at a fast to medium retrieve. It's pretty cool. You have wake baits. Let's see. You have poppers or poppers, whatever you want to call them. They have the concave mouth, pretty straightforward little bait. Just pop it across the water. And I have a frog popper, which I like to call a holla popper. It looks like this, with metal seatings to hold the hooks. I call it a holla popper, but it's a frog popper. You have buzz baits. And that's a good list to start with, so we'll cover those from now on. Let's start with the whopper plopper. Now, the whopper plopper essentially is a crankbait, a hollow crankbait that floats on the surface and has a propeller for a tail. Now, as you're reeling this in, this propeller is going to spin across the top of the water, and it's going to make a distinctive plop, 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 plop. Now, you can work it straight back to you. You can start it, stop it. You can tap your rod tip to make it plop a little bit and then stop. There's various ways of using this bait. It's a very productive bait. I've caught a lot of fish off whopper ploppers, especially in the gray and black color and the sexy shad. I'll show them both at the same time because they're kind of hooked together, you know. Nothing ever goes right when you're filming. So, but that's whopper ploppers. Now, wake baits. Wake baits are a little bit different, however. They're big baits, big bulky baits right here. This is the 6th Sense wake bait, speed wake. What it does is it sits on top of the water, and as you're reeling it back into you, this flaps and it makes a V-shaped wake behind it. Now I use this particular color in murky water because it's got a good silhouette and easy for the fish to see. And I use this one in clear water because it looks like a bluegill. It's uncanny how real that looks. One of my favorites. One of my favorites catches big bass. Basically, with your retrieve on wake baits, you just reel them in with a good speed, medium to fast retrieve, and then just stop them and give it a little jerk to turn it sideways. You can actually walk the dog with them, which is where you just twitch your rod and your lure darts like this back to you on the retrieve. That's also how you work the sexy dog. You twitch your rod tip and it zigzags as it's coming back to you, mimicking a snake on the surface of the water. And fish love them. I tie mine on at the end of August. I don't untie it again until about the middle of October. That's just when I use my spook style baits. They work a lot better then. I get a lot more hookups. Now, when I fish top water, I fish a 50-pound braided line. I want that strong braided line, plus braid sits on the surface. So I like 50-pound braided line, and I like a 6 to a 7 foot medium action rod with a 641 to 701 or 711 gear ratio bait casting reel. This is a perfect setup when you're using that heavy pound test, the medium action rod. It gives you the give that it compensates for the stretch of fluorocarbon or monofilament. Now, I cannot stand fluorocarbon. I will not use fluorocarbon. And here's my reason why. After about 10, 20 casts, that coating begins to break down and that line becomes really weak. And I've lost numerous amounts of baits, even using 20-pound test fluorocarbon. So I'm strictly against fluorocarbon. I don't use it for anything. I use 50-pound braid. I don't use 30-pound braid. I use 50-pound braid. Now, if I need 30-pound braid, I will tie a 30-pound braid leader onto my 50-pound braid. But that's rare to ever, because the diameter of 50-pound braid, I don't have any close by. Yeah, I got some in here. The diameter of 50-pound braid is very low profile. They're not really gonna see your line as much. Let's see, what is this? That's 50 right there. All right, I'll give you a glimpse of how thin 50-pound braid is. That, I don't know if you can see it, that is 50-pound braid. That is pretty small. Pull it back to me so you can actually see. That is pretty small. You don't have to worry about fish seeing it. Get it in a green color, it'll blend right in, and you don't have to worry about the fish seeing it. 50-pound braid is just, it's the perfect braid. If you're new to bait casting, heavier pound braids give you less backlash. If you're tired of losing lures, getting snagged up and not getting your lure back, 50-pound braid. I will tie a fluorocarbon leader on to my braid sometimes, but you have to use the knot. It's called an FG knot. Next week we'll go over how to tie the FG knot. It's kind of difficult, but it is really about the only way that you can affix fluorocarbon or monofilament to braid. So we'll go over that. All right, now let's get back into our lures. Now this bait right here I haven't even used yet. I just bought it because I seen it and I thought it looked cool, the headbanger. But from what I've understand and research that I've done, you just throw this out, reel it in a medium to fast retrieve. This is going to spit a lot of water and it's going to move across the surface at the same time. So I got my equipment now. We're going to try to get some videos of us fishing. Unfortunately, next few days here, it's going to rain. I don't know about you guys, but it's torrential downpour. I don't fish in a torrential downpour. I will fish in the rain, but not torrential downpours. We're supposed to have 1 to 2 inches of rainfall. So my fishing's put on hold. Now, let's go over the difference between a popper frog, a swimmer frog, and a propeller frog. All right, the popper frog. The popper frog has a concave mouth. So when you pull on your rod tip, it spits water, it makes a ploop sound, and fish just go crazy over these. Now, I fish these over heavy cover grass mats, lily pads especially. Just real thick vegetation is where I fish these. Pond scum. If you're fishing a pond, there's a lot of pond scum, fish a frog over it. You're going to catch fish every time, I guarantee it. All right, now that's the popper frog. That's how that one works. The swimmer frog has more of a natural action. It's got that pointed nose, and as you're working it through, it doesn't spit water. It just acts like a frog would, swimming away, and fish love these. Once again, heavy cover, thick grass, pond scum, lily pads, thick cover. These work really well. 50-pound test braided line. 6'6" to 7 foot medium action rod is all you need. All right. Then we have our buzz toad, which is from Scum Frog. It's called the Bigfoot if you want to pick one up for yourself. Now, as you're reeling this one in, these little feet make a ploop, 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 kind of like a whopper popper or a buzz bait. It makes a noise as you're retrieving it in, and you start it and you stop it, start it, stop it, tap it. Really works, guys. Caught a lot of fish on a lure like this right here. Then you have propeller frogs. Now, these are identical to whopper ploppers, but you have 2 individual propellers, and unlike your normal frog, which has the 2 hooks at the back when the fish bite, this one has a gotcha hook right in between the legs, an extra hook to make your hookups more successful. It's tied on at the base like that. I don't know if y'all can see that too well, but you see how that's tied on? Excellent little bait. Caught many a fish off of these. All right, next we're going to go to poppers. I have 2 different sizes, but about the same colors. I have the small, the junior, and the popper regular, both in the baby bass color. I have the most success with this color. Silver with a black back works good, works real good. White, solid white is good, or bone color is really good. But what you do with these, there's a couple different ways you can retrieve them. You can pop, pause, pop, pause. And the heat of the water is going to tell you how long your pause is going to be. If you're in the middle of summer, these work really, really well in the summer. If you're fishing hot summer conditions, fish are a little lethargic, pop, pause is the best way to go on your retrieve. Just pop it, let it with a tight line or with a slack line. If you pop it with a slack line, you'll make a sound that's called the ploop. You pop it with a tight line, it'll spit. Very versatile lure, works great in the summertime. Now you can pop, 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 pause, pop, pop, pause, pop, pause, pop, 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 pause, pop, pop, pause, pop, pause. Most of the time, your strikes are going to happen on the pause. But as I was saying, your duration in hot water, you only want it to be about a second, maybe 2 seconds tops. Where in colder water, you want your your pause to last a little bit longer, just to give the slower moving fish time to catch up to it, to look at it and grab it. It's a reaction style bait. They're going to bite it because they see it made a noise on the surface, and they go after it. It's reaction bait. All right, that covers poppers. Now let's go over the good old buzz baits. I only keep 2 colors in my tackle box. One out is black black with a trailer hook. That's one way of rigging it. I use this in murky water because it has just a great silhouette. This one is the Booyah. It has this extra little metal piece. So as it's spinning on the surface, you get an extra little tap, an extra little noise. Now, these baits are notorious for catching big bass. Big bass love these things. I'm not sure why, but they just do. They love them. You're going to catch bigger fish on a buzz bait than you would with any other topwater lure. They just engulf it down in their goozle and just keep on going. Now, this one's hooked with a trailer hook, like I said, because you pull these pretty fast. This is metal, and you want it to stay on the surface. Well, you want this on the surface of the water. You want this just below the surface. So you got to run this pretty quickly across the surface or it will sink. It does not float. They sink pretty rapidly, actually. But they catch bigger than normal fish. Like I said, I would use this one in clear water. Now, you can rig it this way with a trailer hook, which I highly recommend for beginners because you're going to miss a lot of strikes when you're first starting out with a buzz bait. So that trailer hook gives you an extra little bit of length and a little bit extra hook. This is a 2-aught, and the way it is secured on is I have it free floating with a little O-ring grommet right there to keep it from blocking my main hook. Alright, or you can rig one up with a trailer and a single hook, like I have this buzz bait. Now, this is an Ozark Trail buzz bait. I can't knock Ozark Trail from Walmart. This was $1.96, and I catch just as many fish on the Ozark Trail as I do the Booyah. The only difference is the Booyah has this extra little metal piece here. This one does not have it. But when it comes to how good they buzz, that's what that one sounds like. And this one is just on top of the water going just like that. Either way you want to rig it. This I use in clear water. Some murky water every once in a while, but mainly clear water. This one in the murky water. Spooks, once again, these are a walking style bait, so you're tapping your rod tip constantly, and as they come in, they're darting one side to the other, imitating a snake on the surface, like I said earlier. Whopper ploppers, this one I've tried. Get you a mystery tackle box and hope that you get one of these right here. This color is perfect for murky water. It makes a lot of ruckus on the surface, and it really attracts fish. They will chase this bait, whereas the single-bladed whopper ploppers, they just have a tendency of just striking. They will chase this one. These work just as good too. Use the 90, the 105, or the 120. Best ones. Don't use the 80. Looks like this. I do have an 80. But the only reason I still fish it is because I changed the hooks to a size 2 treble hook. They're a little fat with the hooks that come on it. Kind of gets in the way. You don't get as many hook sets on the 80. Plus, it's a real high-pitched plop. And I've come to find out that the bass really just don't like that. Well, that's our coverage of topwater baits. We will get into each one of these baits more in depth as we go along. There are new videos every Friday. If you like the content, please like and subscribe and hit that notification button and keep it on all, because here in the next couple of weeks we're going to go live and we're going to answer questions from fishermen that they have live. That's going to happen in the next couple of weeks. Please make sure you follow, like, and subscribe. You can find this on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. Give us a shout out. We have a clothing line out, Ron Man's Fishing. Check them out. You might like it. And remember to just like, subscribe, and follow. Thank you guys. Y'all have a good one.